Boom, we are alive. Wait, alarm me? Yeah, boom, we are alive, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today. Wanted to try something a little bit different. Sit outside. I'm just going to read some news and pontificate. Should make for easier, short burst videos. So today, the U.S. Treasury bans tornado cash and the mixer in the role of crypto money laundering. So I'm currently reading an article from MSN and The Verge here. So it says they're adding this to a list of sanctioned organizations, barring all U.S. citizens from interacting with it and requiring that U.S. assets belonging to the tornado cash be recorded to the Office of Foreign Asset Control. Okay, so this is important because not only have they added tornado cash to the sanction list, but USDC specifically, because it's owned by BlackRock, Circle, and their majority holders exist within the US jurisdiction, whereas USDT does not. USDC is now on that list. So what will end up happening is USDC will have to add some type of code to their program, which they can do. So I thought this brought up a really important conversation to recognize, is that USDC is already a central bank digital currency. Companies like BlackRock and Circle, they are sanctioned within the United States, so they will have to abide by this. And the only way for them to do that is to change or program the current contract that USDC runs on. This brings up a very important topic to understand that USDC can at any time all of a sudden add things like KYC, otherwise you can no longer move or trade your money. They could block transactions through this code as well. So from what I understand, and maybe if I'm wrong, correct me in the comments down below, because I do get things wrong sometimes, but this means that USDC is now on that list of how did they word this specifically? US assets belonging to Tornado Cash will now have to be reported. So anything that goes through there, and again, this is aimed at US citizens, US companies, and whatever they consider US assets. So USDT may fall under this line, but from what I understand, they don't. You know, it brings up a really interesting conversation around the idea of the DAI token as well, which we could maybe go into a little bit further, but I want to continue this article. It says, the announcement was made Monday morning, which is today, August 8th, by the Treasury in a press release cited Tornado's cash role in laundering cryptocurrencies in the major hacks, especially those linked to North Korean hacking groups. In March, $625 million was stolen from the blockchain behind the Axie Infinity game, laundered through Tornado Cash. And a heist that the FBI has attributed to the North Korean-based hacking group Lazarus. Now, whatever they say, I don't trust. It's really easy to make it look like someone else was in charge of the hack. So if you were the hacker and you were from the United States, why not make it look like North Korea did it? Because, you know, North Korea is what people think. So I don't trust that, but this is what they're going off of. This is what they're telling the mainstream media. This dramatic move from the Treasury is the latest in an escalation of series of enforcement actions against Tornado Cash and other crypto mixers, which help obfuscate cryptocurrency transactions by pooling funds together and then redistributing them to contributors. In a statement Brian E. Nelson made under the Secretary of Treasury for Terrorism and Financial Intelligence, he said that the mixers had not taken adequate steps to prevent its services from being used by some of the most prolific cyber criminals. So today the Treasury is sanctioning Tornado Cash, the virtual currency mixture, for those that launder money, cyber crimes, and including those committed against those in the United States as well. So any crime committed against a United States citizen or company will sanction the assets within that investigation. So despite public assurances and otherwise, Tornado Cash has repeatedly failed to impose effective controls. Again, it's just a smart contract. It wasn't designed to do that. So why would you? And so we get into really interesting conversations here around what technology can do. So for instance, there's no law against me hiding money when I drive from point A to point B, or if you make a financial transaction in general, it's actually often hidden from the public discourse. Whereas in crypto, we know one of its great aspects is that it is transparent. If you want to send money from point A to point B, everybody around the world can follow that transaction. So Tornado Cash in some effect offers privacy for even the simplest of things, which should not be illegal. So you get into some really gray area here about what it says, and again, it's specifically aimed at the United States, but this has impacts around the globe because of OFAC. So the Treasury will continue to aggressively pursue actions against the mixers, he said, that to launder virtual currency and those who assist them. So again, I think the most important part of this is to understand that it's not just Tornado Cash, it's the assets that are sent into Tornado Cash that will be kind of set under these guidelines. And USDC, from what I understand, is US based, whereas USDT is not. USDT is based as an offshore treasury, effectively. So it wouldn't have to change its rules if the US government asked them to. Now, OFAC is a more global concept, and I'm not sure exactly how that works, but that could have implications for USDT as well. And so this may lead to other videos from us around the DAI conversation. So just as the kind of the last sentiment here, it says, though there are legitimate privacy-focused uses of cryptocurrency mixers like Tornado Cash and Blender, undoubtedly they play a central role in helping organized criminals, which there's a much smaller amount of than the crime that they get away with in blue collar, like the banks that ripped off people for billions of dollars, and they just got a little slap on the wrist. So we already know the majority of the big criminals that are functioning within the apparently non-fraudulent monetary system are allowed to do so with a smack on the list. So they use this, cybercrime, to sanction things that help obfuscate their control mechanisms that they use to maintain control. So here it says, in January 2022, blockchain analysis firm Chainalysis reported that the usage of cryptocurrency mixers had reached an all-time high, with year-on-year increases driven largely by input transactions coming from wallet addresses linked to cybercrime. So in a possible attempt to evade regulation, Tornado Cash was set up as a decentralized financial product, which is, again, this is the interesting part around code. There's no one really in charge. Once you launch that, it just kind of runs. That's it. You could set locks on it too, so you couldn't change it, which would make it an even more interesting conversation. So the Treasury sanctions list also a number of addresses linked to it, forbidding US entities from in any way transacting with these addresses. So again, now you're seeing US sanctions come into the addresses. Canada tried to do this as well. They're like, oh, we'll just block Bitcoin addresses. And you're like, well, first off, you can't do that. You can't stop Bitcoin from making these transactions. You can't stop Ethereum from making those transactions. But what you can do is regulate the transactions incoming to the traditional fiat system. So they say, for the kind of last part of this here, although sanctions against Tornado Cash are severe and reprimand from the Treasury Department, the accompanying press release seems to leave the door open for a change in policy should the mixers operate in closer compliance with guidance given by regulators. Again, here they're trying to go, well, okay, we know that technically it shouldn't be illegal for you to hide your transactions from the public. As a matter of fact, we do this in all natural banking. I can't just go in and look at what the Federal Reserve is doing. Although we should be able to audit the Fed, we can't. So they know it's in their best benefit to keep that legal gray fucking loophole in line for the shit that they already do, that they persecute others for. Anyways, just a quick little update on that. I thought it was important also to highlight the ideas of how this might affect USDC and USDT stablecoins. And I also wanted to try this new little recording style and just quick brief pontifications on some of the stuff that's going on there. So if you like this content, give us a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe, whatever it is you need to do. Leave your comments down below. Steve with the Arcane Bear. We'll see you on the next episode.